This is Pop Culture on Blast.
Hi, this is Josh.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Tim.
So, last week there was the finale of the two-part episode of the Orville called Identity. It's a pretty big episode. What did you guys think?
I thought it was great.
I have not watched it yet.
What?
Are you kidding?
Why are we talking about this? You didn't watch?
Because I read about it.
Well, I don't think you need to see
it
to be able to comment on it, because you've seen the show up till
Don't save these surprises for me while we're doing this.
Why didn't you say this 5 minutes ago?
That's the best time to give you a surprise.
God.
This makes for fascinating radio.
Exactly.
Well, I thought it was a really good two-parter, and like a lot of people have been saying, this is pretty much akin to
the
TNG Best of Both Worlds two-parter. And I think it's a big turn for the Orville. I don't know how the two of you felt when it first got started, but I was not really interested in the Orville at all.
I've watched every show every week. I've been
since it started.
I've been hooked on it from day one.
Okay.
I love it. It feels like old Trek to me, truthfully.
Yeah,
I agree. When it started, I was.
It feels like TNG with potty humor.
It does.
That's all it is.
I was pretty lukewarm to it when it first came out, and I didn't watch it. And then a few months ago, I decided just to go back and watch the first season, back-to-back episodes, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I felt bad for being really dismissive of it, but
it's almost got that whole DS9 thing where at first people dismissed DS9, and then they came back and went, "Wait, this is great."
I don't think they came back, though. I mean, maybe much later, not when the show was on. I think DS9 is cited as being one of the better of the Trek series. In hindsight now, but when it was playing, I don't think anybody cared. I was going through... I was in my teenage years at that time, and I pretty much stopped watching Star Trek for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I think DS9 was a part of that. What were you saying?
I've watched DS9 when it started. Me and my dad, we'd watch all the Star Treks together. He got me started on them, so we'd sit and watch it every week, and then Worf came over and loved that, and it just felt different than Star Trek, because Star Trek was always the whole, we have a perfect utopian society, we don't need money, and then you get DS9 that proves that, this stuff still happens. You still have wars, you still have racism, you still have people who hate you because of what you are. You're a shapeshifter. Okay, therefore I don't have a form, so people hate us and they try and kill us, and that still exists in the future. And that's the thing I like about the Orville, is that it's more realistic of our actual future. There's no tipping point where we get visited by aliens and we're not alone in the universe. Let's find utopia and make perfection now. We found space travel. We're not alone. And we move on, and we continue to be who we are. Because they still even have currency. It's just, they changed it.
I'm a human. I don't have any money. The thing is, the Orville does it so well. I mean, in terms of mirroring Star Trek, when I'm watching it, I think that it is in Star Trek's universe. I think I'm watching, they're in the Federation. That's what it feels like to me.
It does. And I remember reading when the first season was out, and even still at this point, I've read articles that kind of question, how has Seth MacFarlane not been sued for this? And because it's obviously Star Trek. I mean, it couldn't be more Star Trek. It's more Star Trek than the current Star Trek, one might argue.
Yes.
And like you said, it's Star Trek.
He's not ripping off specific ideas. Just
no,
he rides the line. He takes the ideology.
He rides that line very finely.
He takes the ideology of it, and then he just adds toilet humor.
He does. I mean, it's
not like when Mike Myers did, Austin Powers, and he did, what was the third one called? The Gold Member, which is clearly ripping off the idea of Goldfinger.
I think you
and
said
you're gonna okay. The first time it was okay. Now it's like you're clearly ripping us off.
No, I understand. You said though, there's times when you kind of space out as you're watching it, and you think I'm just watching Star Trek, because it feels like Star Trek, and I think that's really the key. And Seth MacFarlane is, a well-known Star Trek fan. I mean, he's a huge fan. And obviously, in particular, he seems to favor TNG, which is what this show kind of emulates in its feel. I guess we're going to talk about two things, right? We're going to talk about how this episode, like you said, Josh, in an article you read, that this two-parter episode kind of served as like their best of both worlds, where everyone stood up and took notice of this show.
More or less, it feels like they're on a fast track compared to TNG.
Well, sure, TNG did at the end of season, 3?
Right, but we've been getting these comparisons about the Orville to TNG since it started.
Day one. Yeah. But that's totally on purpose.
Yes, but also I don't think anybody needed to read any online article to figure out that the Kalon are pretty much the Borg. More or less, can make that correlation.
Sure. Well, yeah, I remember when I talked to you about it last week when it aired, that this two-parter was kind of like a mix of the best of both worlds, the Voyager episode, Basics Part 1 and 2, and I forget the third one. Because that's pretty much, in my opinion, and this is not a bad thing, because God knows Star Trek did this to itself plenty of times. Almost every episode of the Orville is 2 or 3 TNG or Voyager or Deep Space Nine's episodes thrown into a blender with a sprinkle of Family Guy. And God damn it if that formula doesn't work. You know, Star Trek ripped itself off countless times. Voyager is pretty much almost consistently a ripoff of every episode that came before it. That doesn't mean it's bad.
I don't mind the potty humor, as you put it.
No,
I never did. Even when I was watching season 1, it didn't bother me. I enjoyed the fact that it seemed to just have a sense of humor. And
I actually liked.
I didn't feel like it was shoehorned in. Some people think that.
No, I didn't feel like it was either. In fact, I think they have their potty humor on the show, and then they have just humor.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've moved away from the potty humor, which I think is good, and they've kept the humor. Like the one character, I think he works in engineering. He's got kind of a big bulbous head.
Right.
And just looking at him, he's always got a smirk on his face like he's about to laugh. That guy's mere presence makes me laugh.
He's completely for comedic purposes.
Well, of course, but he's not potty humor. He's just funny.
Just with like that scene where he's in the elevator, when they're trapped in the elevator with him, and he's like trying to have like casual like small talk.
Uh-huh.
And it was the captain and the commander, and they were having an argument, and he walked in. He's like, "Hey, what's up, guys?"
Yeah.
So I was thinking about getting some elevator music. What do you think?
See, that's funny. That to me is funnier than potty humor, which kind of goes in one ear and out the other. Which I think is, to the show's credit, it's growing. And it kind of, I think, honestly, it's just my opinion, I think this is what Seth MacFarlane wanted to do all along. I think if CBS, Paramount, gave him a real, genuine Star Trek show to make, I think he'd have jumped on that in a heartbeat.
So you think it was Fox that told him to throw in that humor, that style of humor?
Oh, I don't know. No, well, what I mean is I think that he's intentionally started with more of the funny to grab the viewers, and then he's steadily making it more Star Trek.
I think it was expected of him because of who he is. Because a lot of people who don't like this show don't like the fact that it's from him, and they don't like him.
Right. I'd read that people had this venom towards Seth MacFarlane, and I was unaware of this.
I don't know why.
They don't, because they don't like his humor, so therefore they're not going to like the show.
Which is odd, because like what got me to watch the show in the first place, I'd have watched it anyway because I like Seth MacFarlane, but the teaser for that first couple episodes really pushed the humor. And it wasn't all about I think that's what threw people off, because they watched it and you're like, well, this isn't as funny as the trailers made it look.
This is a serious show.
It's more serious. It's almost like MASH,
Yes.
It's about 70% drama, 30% humor. It's a dramedy. And it's getting more into the drama as it progresses. And he's doing the drama very, very well.
He hits on some very good issues too.
Yeah.
He hits some very big ones.
Some uncomfortable things too.
I mean, wasn't like episode 3 the one with the baby? The baby?
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's when you realize
stuff.
That was literally episode 3.
Yeah, you're like, this is going to go, okay. It's going to go there.
And that continued on to season 2, which was, I like how they actually, because you don't really see that a lot. The main thing you got with TNG from that is, okay, well, Lore shows up, or here's the Borg. You didn't really have storylines that progressed, and then you walk away from it, and then later on the next season, I'm still hurt because of this. I just didn't tell you because I didn't feel that. I didn't want to tell you. They did that multiple times.
Yeah.
And I'm truthfully glad they got rid of the will they or won't they so far as what I've seen.
Oh, with
the captain and commander.
Have they really gotten rid of that?
I feel like they've kind of put it on hold at the very least.
Because I have a problem with that whole will they, won't they thing because it's done so much. It's overdone. I
think that's why he probably put the brakes on it.
It doesn't feel organic. It's like, can't they just be friends and grow? They don't have to be in a relationship. That actually stops me from watching some shows, truthfully, because I don't want to see that. I stopped watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine because of that.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
And this is something that's happened before in TV, where they've had that dynamic between the two leads, and then they get together and it falls apart. Like Moonlighting and Cheers was kind of the same thing.
Like
Castle.
Like you said, I mean, clearly those characters are very comfortable with each other. And I actually, at first, I was kind of rooting for them to get back together. I knew it would never happen because that kind of kills the momentum. But I'm actually really enjoying just watching them be good friends about it, like Troy and Riker. You know, they're very comfortable. Something happened in the last episode or two, I forget what, but they ended up like having dinner together or lunch, and it wasn't about trying to rekindle anything. It was just they know each other and they can be open and honest with each other, and I really like that. It's almost, I don't know why this is what popped into my head. It's not unlike Harry Potter and Hermione. You know, I mean, obviously they never dated, but they're very close, and it's not a sexual thing. I mean, with these two, obviously it was, but
that doesn't mean there has to be again.
Yeah, but I guess the Riker-Troy analogy is fairly close. You know, they're just super comfortable with each other, and if it turns out that they reconnect that way, groovy. If not, they're awesome friends. You know, and I dig that. I really like that, in fact.
Well, what do you think about the show's commentary? That it's really laying on pretty thick. Like there was that episode with I'm blanking on characters' names right now.
What position does he have on the ship?
The second in command, Bortus. Bortus's significant other, where he
was thought to be a killer.
Was thought to be right, and then
I thought he did it. I genuinely
well, so did I. But that whole issue of there was an issue of intolerance going on, particularly with that race of people.
Yeah.
And then the replacement security guard, whose name I also can't remember.
Yeah.
Basically saying at the end of the episode, "Stay away from me. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
If you see me, turn the other way."
Because he did do something.
It wasn't that No.
He didn't commit a murder.
No,
he was guilty of something. I forget what it was. A moral crime, kind of
driving that person to do what they did.
Something to that effect. Yeah. And because Bortus's partner,
right?
I don't like him, but you're not supposed to. You know, he's a very closed-minded.
But he's good in other areas, but not when it comes to that.
Oh, don't
very
get me
intolerant
wrong.
when it
I'm
comes
totally
to that.
like when he comes on screen, I know what I'm gonna get. And I get all like antsy because I'm like, what's he gonna do now? This little dick. Oh. But he does it, like you said, he does it very well.
Right.
And I don't feel much chemistry between the two guys, but I don't think you're supposed to. I think they're very emotionally.
It's how their species is.
Bland. But not from him. Like, he's clearly the woman in the relationship.
Clearly.
And I love that they don't shy away from that. And he's just incredibly possessive, incredibly jealous, and he doesn't hold back. Kind of makes him interesting.
Well,
you know?
I have not seen the episode you guys are talking about. But the one that I did see with him is the one where he tried to get the divorce.
Right, and he almost killed Bortus.
Well, no, because he had a chance to actually... Yes, he's very close-minded, but once he was shown ways by the doctor to help him in his relationship, he actually opened up to it. I think if his character had a chance to be shown the world, to think outside his box, because you have to think, Bortus is sitting there on the bridge. He's stuck in the room with the baby all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a chance to go out and learn from new cultures. He's stuck there, thinking the way he thinks because that's how he was raised without the opportunity to grow. And in that episode, I felt he had an opportunity to grow because, you know, they're sitting there explaining counseling, how that'll work, and it worked for them.
In that instance, it did.
Yeah, but he was given the opportunity as a character.
Right, yeah, they're good to pair together because it will accentuate the issue. But I also think there's moments when it came to that particular storyline with Bortus and his partner, that I think it was a bit, I think they simplified it a little too much, a little too easily and too quickly. When I think it was when they were deciding whether or not to have the sex change on the baby.
Right.
And one of the crew showed Bortus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And that convinced Bortus not to go through with it. I was like, that's funny, but I think it's a little too easy.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's that simple.
I think it kind of would be for Bortus because, like Tim said,
no, it just
he's
Bortus
exposed to more, so he's more willing to see
Right, but
change.
it's not that simple. You just can't show someone Rudolph and then expect him to not be prejudiced anymore. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, hold on, though. Think about it like this. Bortus, his culture, probably like many other ones, wouldn't have movies like we do, so to see a new medium would probably be very affecting. Think about the Voyager episode, the singing doctor one.
Virtuoso.
Those people didn't know what music was. And they were willing to change their whole society based on it. So I'm just saying it could have been the medium that more so.
I don't think that's quite an apt comparison.
I'm just trying to find something, man.
I think all I'm saying is no. That completely changed Bortus's behavior. He was a complete 180.
Yeah.
But can I say, sidetrack here? That is the one thing that I kind of do feel is missing. Is that we get a lot of Earth music, we get a lot of Earth movies. No other species has created music or any type.
Klingon music, Klingon opera.
That's true.
Yes, but this isn't Star Trek.
No, that's a good point, though. And even in Star Trek, they're guilty of that.
They haven't shown that. So no one else created movies in any other civilization across all the planets that they have in the Union.
Oh, that's a good point.
None of them have?
Like, they would all have, well, you would assume that they would have art, some sort of art forms.
I'm sure they have. They just haven't brought it up yet.
It would kind of actually be fun to, like, have...
Because...
Seth MacFarlane's pretty quick. Maybe he will have an episode or make references to where Bortus or... do they even have? Yeah, they have.
I don't think Bortus's people have movies or music.
Probably
I really don't.
But
they're too literal.
The Norm Macdonald squishy character, he can be like, "How come we can't watch one of my movies?" Well, because they all look the same. We can't tell who anyone is.
The question is, when did he show them the blob? That is the question.
They should show him the blob.
That probably will come up.
That is one thing I like a lot of things about the show, but I like the diversity in species and characters. I feel like this is something that Star Trek The Next Generation could have had if it was made now with the technology and the prosthetics. I mean, come on, Bortus, the whole outfit, whole body. You got the guy with the second esophagus from his nose to his belly button.
Yeah, that guy. That was Putty. That was Putty.
Yeah. You can recognize his voice right away.
Hey,
I know. I'm like, oh god, it's him.
All right.
I mean, they were able. He's very. It's not just humans and humanoids. He's there. The guy who gave Bortus the sex hollow tape.
Right.
Him. It's very unique and new shapes and.
Well, we'll look at the Blob himself.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's what interspecies Star Trek would really be like. They would be totally unlike what we're used to.
Exactly.
And he's got a hard-on for the Doctor, which is awesome.
And they hooked up.
And they hooked up, which was very weird.
And then she hooked up with, well, you don't know.
I already know that they got together.
Okay.
It's in the article.
Okay. The android.
She got together with him before that episode.
Well, he's a bit behind.
Oh, I didn't know how far behind you were.
I'm halfway through this season. It's one of those things where I felt I could watch it later, and then once I started watching it again, I remember why I liked it so much, and so I just literally plowed through 5 episodes last night, and I'm going to try and probably do the other 5 tonight.
Well, I think what the Orville is doing really well is basically what science fiction does well, when it takes contemporary issues and spins it off. Into something that's a bit less recognizable, a bit less direct, so it's easier to consume.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's being such a success right now. And I think that's what TNG was doing. That's what the original Star Trek was doing.
Well,
that's why people are saying it's the new Star Trek, more or less.
Well, gosh, I mean, people said that from day one, like we said. I mean, behind the scenes, it's loaded with people that actually produced Star Trek. Brandon Braga is a part of the show. Andre Bormanis is a part of the show. Almost every single episode has a former Star Trek cast member in it.
Oh my goodness.
It's the cousin to Star Trek. I mean, when they sell you box sets of shows, they're going to put the Orville right next to it, because it's Star Trek. I'm sorry, it's Star Trek just with humor. Whoa. Like you said, when the their Federation or whatever appears. It sounds weird to me when they don't call it the Federation.
They're the Union.
Well, because I expect them to run into Klingons and Romulans, but they're not. They're running into the Krill and the Kalons.
Yeah.
And the Krill are clearly like Klingon-esque type people. Yeah. But I don't know how intentional that was. Like, is Seth MacFarlane just so ingrained with TNG?
I think he is.
That he just doesn't know that he's basing these things off of so much TNG?
I've wondered that before. Like, is he consciously blending multiple episodes? Or, like you said, is it just in his skull and he's doing it unintentionally? If I wrote an Orville, I would probably unintentionally... If I showed it to Josh, he'd turn around and go, hey, that's this episode. Fuck! Okay, I didn't know. You know, I'm sure at some point it gets pointed out, probably even in the writers' rooms. Or for all we know, they have a little board and they spin it and go, boom, boom, throw those together. Okay, you know.
That actually is not a bad idea.
Why not?
You were talking about the captain and commander. I don't want to see them get together.
I don't, actually.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that I want to see that Krill woman come back.
Yes. I enjoyed that episode very much. When
Yeah,
she came
I
on
like
and found out who she was.
Yeah.
The traitor, or she was imposter.
She was a school teacher from season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
her brother was
as a
killed.
human, she's attractive as well.
Sure.
So, but that, I mean, aside from that, what sold me on it was I love the fact that Seth MacFarlane puts in modern music. Because TNG didn't do that.
No.
Star Trek didn't do that. If they did, it was like classic music, right? Like Beethoven.
Yeah,
but,
no one ever listened to 20th century
no,
music.
but he does. And he put in Billy Joel over her. And I was like, oh, sold.
Yeah.
Gave her a little, whatever the hell that is, their new CDs or iPods.
Yeah, it was like a
whatever.
microchip or something. I don't know, something like that.
It's probably all of Billy Joel.
So where do you think the show's gonna go? Do you think it's gonna continue to get darker? Do you think it's gonna...
I actually hope it doesn't get too dark. You know, I don't like this one. I don't think it should ever get darker than this did, you know, because then you're gonna lose, I think, the flavor of the show. And I think they're gonna have to be very careful to ride that line.
And you had said that, and I agreed that, well, you haven't seen it, Tim, so spoiler.
I'll probably agree too.
But that they didn't completely sell us on Isaac being redeemed.
Right.
In that two-parter.
No, they...
So he crossed the line, and...
But the end of the episode implies, like, it's cool. The next episode
it
will
almost
be back
as if,
to normal.
Yeah, they had washed their hands of it almost.
That, I think, was a weakness of the episode. Right. But that's only the last 5 minutes. But
still, there was a lot he did in there that
I know.
Wasn't easily
I really
forgiven.
think they should have written something into the story to excuse his action. Because, I'd kick his ass right off the ship. In fact, in that two-parter, Captain... Mercer. See, this is what I mean. Why they better ride that line very, carefully. This is a show where the captain, in defense of Isaac to Isaac's people, saying, he's learned how to do humor. Granted, he did cut my helmsman's leg off as a joke, but we taught him that was wrong, and that's not okay. The fact that happened, I mean, that actually happened.
That was a really good bit.
That's hilarious.
And he's like, I got your leg.
And if they go too dark, that'd be like DS9 having an episode where someone did that. And it's like, is that too far? Because DS9 was definitely more dramatic. So in other words, keep that ebb and flow of drama and comedy. Don't go too dark. You might have an episode or two just like MASH did.
Yeah.
But...
MASH had more than an episode or two.
Granted, but still, just don't go into dark death and despair all the time.
I don't think he will. I think
not.
He'll bring it up and bring it down,
Yeah.
He'll bring the lighter side where they meet the episode where everything was judged by social media.
Right. So there's
I thought that one was a bit wonky. The same thing with
the problem is I saw that right after a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you
Which
guys
was a
see
good
the same
episode.
shit?
It felt a little Twilight Zone-y, but
Yeah,
I think the other one that was a bit wonky was the astrology one.
Yeah.
That one was a little weird. Not the strongest
That's
one.
the one where the people, if you're born under an astrological sign,
That
you're
one.
automatically going to be killers, and then they arrest Bortus and the commander.
Yeah, I actually liked that episode until the end, because as much of a Star Trek fan as he obviously is, the whole ending of that show totally defies what I'm sure his union would do, which is you can't interfere in a society. I mean, hell, they built that into the episode. You can't interfere in a society. He changed their religious beliefs. He would get in so much trouble. That's something I would actually like to see follow up, because he did something that would have tremendous consequences, not just to that society, but to his career.
I mean, he didn't get approval on that.
No,
he did not. They gave him 24 hours to get out of there, and he came up with this.
He did something so drastic that I think I would have liked to have seen him be penalized for that.
But the problem is it's already done. I did like...
It's done.
When they first got the message, I literally how are you going there? First thing popped in my head. They're a pre-warp civilization. You're violating the Prime Directive. You can't go there.
We keep thinking Prime
Directive.
There's
no Prime Directive.
And they're like, oh yeah, our directive is if we get a signal or we see you out here, we're going to go find you because we don't want you to join the Krill. Krill's going to kill you.
Yeah.
We want to say hi. That's pretty much what he said.
But didn't they say in that episode that they didn't call it the Prime Directive, but they have a rule of you can't interfere too much.
The rule is that if they get, like I said, they get a phone call, or if you discover warp travel, they will come to you. And then the other part was that the reason why they can't go in guns blazing is because that's part of their rules, is that it's their society, their laws.
Well, that's close enough.
Basis.
Close enough to say he really violated something.
He so did.
Big time.
So what are the strengths and weaknesses of the show, you think?
So far, the new security officer, I don't like her.
Okay.
She's a major weakness.
I'd have to say I like her. She's doing just fine. She's a bit bland. I think that they're trying to imbue her with a little bit of. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
it just popped in my head.
She's no Alara. That's just
no. The other thing I didn't like is with Alara. First couple episodes, she had more prosthetics, more cover up her, and then they smoothed it down so you can see her more. I didn't like that. I liked the fact that yes, she's a pretty face, but she could actually. You don't expect this little girl to be able to kick a door down with just flicking it, and that's what I liked, is that you didn't. It wasn't just about, because they tried to focus more on the fact that she's attractive, and took some more of that away, in my opinion.
I didn't really.
I agree that they thinned it out to show more of her beauty because she is beautiful, but I don't think it hurt her too much because they didn't seem to focus too much on her sexuality. Thank goodness.
No, they didn't. They didn't. But they put it out there that she's more cute.
Yeah,
she looks more innocent now instead of looking like she has ridges and possible battle plating or something. Then the new girl comes in with a freaking 90s style haircut. She's got the braid. She got the damn thing on her right. I bet you they don't even give her the right prosthetic ear, because she has her hair covering it the whole damn time in every episode I've seen her in so far.
She, like you said, she's okay. I think she's just no Alara to me.
Exactly.
That's her only.
And I felt like, okay, so we bring this species in. I want another one of this species, because she's leaving, which was a really good episode, by the way. Her leaving, Alara leaving.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that quite a bit.
That was a good episode. When his legs were breaking, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Both doctors were there. Come on.
Yeah. No, it was
two doctors from Star Trek.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Wait a minute. Who was the other one? There was from Voyager
and
the Doctor
Enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dr. Phlox.
Yeah,
Billingsley.
Dr. Phlox.
He was
that guy.
The neighbor.
He was the neighbor who was killing him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I've forgotten about that.
Acting. Let me see. This I would agree that right now is a weakness, but it's not so much her fault. She's just following Alara.
It's the character.
I think honestly the strength of the show for me is what I already said, that it's phasing out the potty humor. It's keeping genuine humor, but phasing out the potty humor, and I find that really, really works for the tone of the show.
Just keeping it organic.
Yes, yeah, it's more organic, and I enjoy that they're taking time to
develop the characters.
I really feel like I'm getting to know these people. The Doctor, she's great. I like that we're spending time with her, Isaac, and the kids. That's becoming like a thing,
right?
What the hell is his name? The Blob.
I don't remember.
He's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't say he has a lot of character, but he's interesting. The Bortus dynamic that just keeps getting, sooner or later, that's a powder keg that's going to go up, in their little family
Dude, he
household.
already stabbed him. How is it going to get worse? He literally divorced him with a knife in his heart.
I know,
but they went to counseling.
Yes, they did.
They did. But no, they do. They give them multiple characters, multiple storylines within an episode. Most of the time, like TNG,
they got an
DS9,
A and a B plot.
They got an A and B plot, and you sprinkle some of the B characters. You don't really get to know Geordi unless it's a Geordi-specific episode. The Doctor has a Doctor-specific episode. They're able to tell a story as they go and do it from a certain point of view that... yes, we need to go to this planet and discover this, but the Doctor has a problem with her kid drinking alcohol.
I do think they've
at the same time.
I do think they've kind of forgotten about the engineer guy.
Well, when they put him down there,
yeah, I don't know why they did that. He just kind of Yeah, but Geordi was always on the show, though. I feel like he's just kind of gone. Well, I didn't love his character.
He works best.
With the short spurts.
With the helmsman.
Yeah, they work
Well
when
together. They work. Well, the helmsman is good by himself.
He's hilarious.
But he is fun.
Yeah.
He is really
And of course, when I told Justin this, him and the commander, they're engaged.
Right.
Yeah, boy.
Well, blew his mind.
Sometimes.
Now, speaking of her,
right,
I do think her character needs some work. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but I feel like there's a wall around her, and we're not really getting to know her. Her relationship with the teacher guy, that was never working from day one for me. They had no chemistry. It wasn't working.
I like the teacher though.
He was good. It was just them together.
No,
but
I get maybe they weren't supposed to have.
I like the few moments we've seen so far where, say, like Claire came in to talk to her about the relationship, and she just kind of became more of a person. I like seeing her like that. I actually don't like seeing her in her commander role. It's not that her performance is bad. She's fine. Like when she was with Bortus on that one planet, they were a team together, and I liked that. But she has her, and this is nitpicking, but she like kind of purses her lips a little bit when she's doing her commander face.
Nobody can see you.
I know, but I want her to stop doing that. Stop trying to look serious. Just be there.
I guess that's all I'll be able
Seth
to see.
Seth MacFarlane does it too, actually. He kind of has his commander face, and I feel like he's acting when he does that, and I just stop. Because he has a very natural, easy charm and charisma to him. He's kind of like Captain Pike on Discovery now. He's got a very cool nature about him. So when he tries to put on his serious face, it's kind of hard for me to get into that. Just be you. Same with the commander. I feel like she's trying too hard to look serious. That's nitpicking, but anyway, Josh, what do you think the strengths and weaknesses of the show are?
Well, I think we touched upon them. Definitely the engineer.
Yeah.
Not bad. I just think they need to give him something a little bit more to do.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. He could be doing better. Just they haven't really given him much to chew on recently. I think that also Elara, is that her name?
Yes, the one who left.
Yeah.
She needs to come back.
She needs to, well... She was the original.
Yes.
What's the name of the replacement?
I don't remember.
I call her replacement a lot.
She's Ponytail.
Okay, well, I think
90s girl.
She is the replacement is fine, but I think she's having to come in after Elara, who we all liked, and we didn't want to see go. When I saw that episode where she actually stayed home, I was like, Justin, did you see the last episode?
She really got
I was like, is she? I couldn't talk to you about it because you hadn't seen it yet. I was like, tell me she's. I don't want to. I wanted to stay. But apparently I read that, she got another job or something like that.
Or she wanted to pursue other jobs. Whatever.
She was doing a movie or something, and she wanted to, I was like, don't do it, Denise Crosby. Yeah, because that's what they're going to say.
You did it.
But you did. I was like, all right.
Hopefully she'll get a Pet Cemetery and then call it a career.
She's in Pet Cemetery?
Denise Crosby is.
Oh. Wouldn't it be funny if that girl did the remake of Pet
Cemetery?
That would just blow everyone's mind.
Maybe she is. Who knows? Maybe we just haven't seen it yet.
Well, Josh, you asked this. Where do you think the show is going? Or where do you think it will go?
I think that they've struck the right chord. Mm-hmm. Although I didn't mind the humor in the first season, I think they've struck the right chord right now with just enough dark elements and just enough humor that isn't so much just humor thrown in there that has nothing to do with the scene or the story. I don't want them to get so dark that it's unrecognizable, because I think that would just be too far. I like the way that they're constructing the show in that it's not so much like DS9 where they had, or Enterprise for that matter, where they had these long story arcs, but more like TNG where it's a bit self-contained. But unlike TNG, I think the Orville has repercussions. Like,
some.
I think so. Like, it will, like, something that happens in this episode will affect what happens in the next one. You will feel it. I don't think TNG did that very well.
They didn't.
I don't think they tried.
No.
So far, I think
it wasn't a thing back then.
No,
it wasn't. It is now.
So far, the things that seem to be following over are the captain-commander relationship. Those are kind of major threads that keep popping up. The Bortus relationship keeps coming up. The doctor's relationship.
And now the teacher, because that's going to shape their war, her going back.
The what?
The teacher, not the male.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The girlfriend.
Right.
Which one?
Krill.
The Krill. That's gonna shape what they do next. Is because she's probably gonna go and try and find some people that they're not this bad, and some people will believe them, and other people will not, and that will probably shape into a whole civil war situation.
You think so? Huh? A civil war?
It depends on who she talks to. Truthfully,
you probably should see the 2-parter.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. You haven't seen the last few. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want
some of your questions will be answered.
Yeah, I think I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't quite compute. Wait a second. Yeah, I don't want to say anything.
Please don't tell me she's at least not dead.
No. We're not saying anything like that. You'll get it.
Is this all because of Isaac's people and how they're either the Borg or the Cybermen?
I'm just going to say there's developments between the Union and the Krill that I think you need to be aware of before you.
Or do they become allies to fight the
We're not
Cybermen?
Not saying anything.
I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, well, I think that kind of does this, right?
I think so.
All right. Any final thoughts on the Orville, Tim? Where do you want to see it go? Where do you think it'll go?
I honestly don't know. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the merger, obviously, because this is a lighter show that
could
Fox? Be. This is Fox.
Okay.
And the merger's going through on the 20th of March. It's official.
They'll probably leave it alone.
Who knows what they're going to do? That could end up on the chopping block because shows like that, it does all right. It does good, but if are they going to want a show that's kind of like Star Trek when they own Star Wars and stuff? I mean, I hope they enjoy it. I hope I enjoy it. I would love to just see it going in the direction that it's going so far. It's that they got rid of the potty humor, but there's more sarcasm, and it feels natural from Seth MacFarlane's character. And the commander and some of the other people are picking up on it as well and doing jokes wrong, and I enjoy that. They're writing the good stuff and they're writing the bad stuff. They haven't gone too good, too super cheesy, or too super dark yet. Yeah. And I just hope they keep that up.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd like to subscribe to us on iTunes, please hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, and give us a rating. You can visit our website at popcultureonblast.libsyn.com. Email us directly at pconblast@gmail.com, or tweet at us, popcultureonblast. Until next time, I'm Josh.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Tim.